You wake up at 3:23 a.m., no alarm, no noise, just awake. Most people roll over and try to forget it. But what if that moment wasn't an accident, but a calling? Ancient wisdom, from Buddhist monks to Stoic philosophers, believes the hours between 3 and 5 a.m. are sacred. The world is silent, the ego sleeps, and the universe whispers. This isn't just spiritual poetry, it's backed by your body's own rhythms. During these early hours, your mind enters a highly receptive state, calm, clear, and deeply connected. And if you act with intention in this window, you can unlock clarity, strength, and peace that shapes your entire day. In this video, you'll learn 3 powerful things to do if you wake up during the sacred hour. They're not random rituals. They're ancient tools for real transformation. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. If you're ready to reclaim your mind, your energy, and your purpose, this is where it begins.
Number 1.
Sit in silence and connect with your breath. When you wake between 3 and 5 a.m., don't label it as a problem. Don't dismiss it as poor sleep. Instead, ask yourself, why this moment? Not out of frustration, but out of reverence. You've been given a rare opportunity across traditions. This hour is sacred, not just because of ancient wisdom, but because of what it reveals. The self, untouched by the world. Your first move matters. Most reach for their phones, scrolling, absorbing, reacting, but you must reclaim that first breath. No screen, no thought, no movement. Just sit. Let the body be still. Let the world wait. The Stoics believe the soul returns to its natural state through inner alignment, and that alignment begins in silence. Let your feet feel the floor, straighten your spine, not out of tension, but out of dignity. Let your hands rest lightly, then close your eyes. Begin with the breath. Inhale through the nose. Hold, exhale gently. Watch it move. Don't change it, just be with it. This isn't doing nothing. It's doing the one thing that changes everything. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." But we forget this, especially first thing in the morning. We hand over our awareness before we've even used it. But this moment, this quiet, early space, is your rehearsal ground, your return to what is real, unshaped by other people's needs. At this hour, your brain waves are still in theta. You're closer to the unconscious. The walls between logic and intuition are thinner. That's not spiritual fluff. That's neuroscience. The impressions you absorb now become blueprints for the rest of your day. So you have a choice. Program your mind with silence, breath, and clarity, or let chaos write your code. And what does Stoicism say? Return to nature, align with reason, practice control over the inner world. Breath is the gateway to all 3. Seneca once said, "If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person." This practice, this early morning return to stillness, is how you become that different person. Leonardo da Vinci began his creative work only after silent reflection. He understood that the clearest ideas rise from the quietest moments. Maya Angelou described her early solitude as when the voice of God is clearer. Steve Jobs began every morning by asking himself one brutally honest question. If today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do? That level of clarity doesn't come from noise. It comes from stillness. Now, let's talk practice. Sit for 10 minutes, maybe 20. Don't strive for anything. This is not a competition, it's a calibration. As thoughts rise, observe them, like clouds drifting through the sky. If your mind wanders, gently return. Every return is a repetition, and every repetition builds mastery. Over time, you'll feel it, not all at once, but steadily. Your heart rate will slow, your thoughts will lose their sharpness, your chest will soften, insights will rise. Not because you force them, but because you've created the space for them to appear. And something else happens. You become harder to provoke. When someone speaks carelessly later in the day, you respond, not from impulse, but from presence. You're not hurried, you're not defensive, you're grounded. That's not accidental, that's earned in the dark while the world slept. The Stoic writer Pierre Hadot said that morning meditation wasn't a luxury. It was the foundation of philosophy. It prepares the soul to face life, not with control over outcomes, but with clarity over responses. This isn't performance, this is preservation. You're preserving the space between stimulus and response, between emotion and action. And in that space, Viktor Frankl said, lies our freedom. But most people don't know it exists. Why? Because they never sit still long enough to feel it. The breath in Stoicism is not just physical, it's symbolic. It represents control, awareness, and inner order. Every inhale is a return to the present. Every exhale is a letting go of what you cannot control. When Zeno of Citium first taught Stoicism under the painted porch in Athens, he emphasized aligning with nature. And what could be more natural, more immediate than the breath? The world wants you to hurry, algorithms want your attention, other people want your reaction. But your breath wants your stillness, and that's the power hidden in this early hour. No one is asking anything of you. There's no performance, no expectation. It's just you and your mind, and that is where your life begins. Many people ask how to develop self-discipline or emotional resilience. They think it starts with reading more, working harder, or forcing motivation. But true self-mastery begins with learning to sit with yourself without distraction and not run, to observe your restlessness, your urges, your discomfort, and to remain. This quiet endurance is the root of all inner strength. You won't always feel transformed after 10 minutes of breath, but something will shift. A space opens, a calm arises, and in that space, you begin to see the day before it happens. You anticipate rather than react. You prepare rather than scramble. You move with clarity instead of compulsion. This is what makes you unshakable. So let the silence between 3 and 5 a.m. be your temple. Let your breath be your daily scripture. Let each sit be a quiet revolution against chaos. And remember, while the world sleeps in distraction, you are waking up in the deepest sense of the word. And if one morning you miss the silence or forget the ritual, don't judge yourself. Return the next day and the next, because mastery is not perfection, it's repetition. That's what the Stoics practiced. Not one grand act of insight, but daily discipline. Quiet, simple, unshakable. And here's what you must remember. There is no perfect morning, no perfect routine, just the practice of returning again and again. Some days your breath will feel deep and steady. Other days it will feel shallow and restless. Both are fine. What matters is that you showed up, that you honored the silence, that you gave yourself a moment to listen inward before you listen outward. In that quiet decision, you reclaim your life. Not once, but every single day.
Number 2.
Express gratitude and speak positive affirmations. After you've sat in silence and reclaimed your breath, the mind becomes a different landscape. It's not scattered, not reactive. It's soft clay, pliable, open, and ready. And in this sacred state, what you say to yourself echoes louder than at any other point in the day. That's why this second practice is so crucial. Speak gratitude and affirm what you want to embody. Most people don't understand the real power of affirmations. They think it's just positive thinking, empty words, self-help fluff. But the Stoics would disagree. Marcus Aurelius wrote, The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. That's not metaphor. That's mental physics. What you say repeatedly, especially when your defenses are down, becomes what you believe. And what you believe becomes how you act. It becomes who you are. And this early morning hour? This is when belief gets planted deepest, because your conscious mind isn't yet skeptical. Your inner critic hasn't had its coffee. The filters are down. You are open. You are impressionable. And that is not weakness. That is the opportunity. Start simple. Start quiet. Whisper if you must. Speak gratitude first. Out loud. Not in your head. There is something transformative about hearing your own voice give thanks. Say, thank you for another chance. Or, thank you for breath. Or even, thank you for this silence. Gratitude doesn't need to be grand. It needs to be sincere. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." The Stoics didn't view gratitude as passive acceptance. They saw it as an act of strength. To be grateful in a world designed to keep you unsatisfied is a revolutionary act. It says, I choose to see what's right instead of what's missing. I choose to acknowledge the good, even when it's small, even when it's hard to find. And after gratitude, affirm who you are becoming. Speak it as if it already exists. I am focused. I am calm. I am enough. Not because you're trying to fake confidence, but because you're forging it. Word by word, breath by breath. Your nervous system is listening. Your subconscious is listening. And the universe? Maybe it's listening too. Here's what people get wrong about affirmations. They wait until they feel strong to speak strong, but strength is built through repetition, not emotion. You don't say it because you already believe it. You say it because you want to believe it. And belief is a muscle. It grows with use. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Epictetus instructed his students to repeat internal commands daily. Tell yourself, I am not my body, I am not my possessions, I am my choices. He wasn't promoting self-delusion. He was promoting internal order, mental training, repetition as alignment. Now let me show you how to do this in practice. After your breath work, place your hand on your chest. Feel it rise and fall. Take one breath in, and on the exhale, say softly, thank you. You can thank the air, the quiet, your resilience. It doesn't matter what. What matters is presence. Feel the words. Then say 3 affirmations. Speak them slowly, with intention. Not like you're checking off a to-do list, but like you're giving a command to your entire being. And if the words feel uncomfortable, say them anyway, especially then. That discomfort, that's the old belief system dying. You can rotate your affirmations each day or keep them the same, but always choose ones that anchor you to your values, not your vanity. Don't affirm ego, affirm essence. Not I will be admired, but I will act with honor. Not I will make money, but I create value through clarity. Speak from your core, not your insecurity. Let me give you an example from someone who lived this out. Nelson Mandela, though not a Stoic by label, was one in spirit. In prison, he repeated lines from Invictus and ancient African proverbs, not to escape reality, but to mold his own mind within it. Even after years of confinement, he emerged with calm, clarity, and vision. That was not accidental. That was trained mental sovereignty. The repetition of truth, not circumstance, became his compass. Your affirmations work the same way. They're not magic. They don't guarantee success, but they shape the lens through which you meet reality. And that lens determines everything. What you see, what you miss, and how you respond. A person who begins the day with gratitude and internal affirmation walks differently, not arrogantly, quietly. They don't need to convince anyone of their worth. Their posture already says it. Their presence already speaks it, because when you affirm who you are in private, you stop needing applause in public. And here's something most people never tell you. Affirmations are not always pleasant. Sometimes they bring tears. Sometimes they reveal just how far you've drifted from your truth. That's okay. That's where the healing starts. When you say, I am peaceful, and feel turmoil, you've just located your wound. Keep saying it with gentleness, with persistence. Eventually, something shifts. You start to believe it, not as a thought, but as a felt truth. And once you feel it, you begin to act on it. You stop reacting, you start responding. That is the Stoic goal, not to numb your emotions, but to guide them, to train the mind, not with force, but with truth repeated until it becomes reflex. So tomorrow morning, after you sit in silence and anchor your breath, speak not to the world, but to yourself, to the part of you that is always listening. Start with gratitude, end with strength. Say what you need to hear, not just once, but every day. Because your words are not decoration, they are design. And the life you build begins with the story you choose to tell yourself before the sun has even risen. And if it ever feels awkward to speak aloud in an empty room, remember, you're not speaking for volume. You're speaking for vibration. The words don't need an audience. They only need honesty, and that honesty will change you.
Number 3.
Drink warm water with intention. Now that you've returned to your breath and affirmed your being, it's time to turn inward in a more physical way. And it starts not with coffee, not with news, but with water. But not just any water, and not just any habit. This is a ritual, a quiet offering to your body, a Stoic purification that begins from the inside out. The modern world tells you to run, to caffeinate, to stimulate, to conquer your fatigue with force. But the Stoic knows you don't start the day by pushing harder. You start by aligning deeper. And that alignment begins with water, warm, still, mindful. Before you take a sip, pause. Don't just grab a glass and gulp. Feel the weight of the cup in your hand. Let your breath slow. And here is the secret. Before you drink, set an intention. Just one. Say it quietly. Today I will act with patience. Or I welcome clarity. Or let this day unfold with presence. Then sip, slowly, purposefully. Let the warmth move through you like a message from within. This is not hydration, this is alignment. Stoicism teaches us that we must return to nature. And what is more natural than water? What is more essential than the element that makes up most of your body, most of this earth, most of life itself? Seneca once wrote, "Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished." This is water's way, and it must be yours too. When you drink warm water with intention, you're not just quenching thirst. You're initiating a conversation with your system. You're telling your body, we begin gently, we begin wisely, we begin awake. The warmth wakes your organs, your digestion, your blood flow, not with shock, but with grace. This is a daily reminder. Not everything needs to be done fast. Not everything needs to be hacked. Some things, especially the most important things, require slowness, deliberateness, presence. There's an ancient Ayurvedic teaching that says warm water first thing in the morning stokes the digestive fire. It removes toxins, clears the system, and ignites life force. While that may sound mystical, the Stoic sees the metaphor. When you cleanse the body, you also cleanse the mind. You make space for better thinking, better response, better living. Marcus Aurelius began each day reminding himself that he would face rudeness, resistance, and ignorance. But he never rushed into the day unprepared. You can do the same, but instead of bracing with tension, begin with softness. Start with water, and with it, dissolve yesterday. Because that's the real reason for this ritual. It is your clean slate. It is your break from the noise. You aren't just sipping, you're saying goodbye to what you no longer need. You're starting again, by choice, with presence. And it's this act of intention that matters most. Water alone doesn't change your life, but water infused with attention, that's different. That's powerful. That's sacred. Many people rush into their mornings without a single moment of deliberation. They wake up and immediately enter reaction mode. Emails, schedules, noise, stimulation. They skip the stillness. They skip the ritual. They skip the signal to themselves that says, I am in command of my mind, my body, my day. And without that signal, they drift, they react, they forget who they are. But you won't, because this ritual, this warm water, this silent intention, anchors you to your power. Here's how you do it, step by step. Boil the water and let it cool slightly. You want warmth, not heat. While you wait, prepare your environment. Maybe it's dim light. Maybe it's a candle. Maybe it's just the quiet. Take your glass in both hands, breathe once, set your intention, let it rise from your core, and say it aloud softly. Then drink, not fast, not distracted, but present. Let every sip remind you, this is my beginning, this is my path, this is my command over the small things, so I can handle the big things when they come. And they will come. Disruption, disappointment, difficulty. But when you begin the day by choosing stillness and alignment, you train your nervous system to meet adversity with clarity. That is the Stoic way, not suppression, not avoidance, but readiness earned through ritual. Consider this. The greatest minds didn't start their days reacting to the world. They began by preparing their own. Leonardo da Vinci believed that simplicity was the ultimate sophistication. And what is simpler than water? What is more elegant than intention? Steve Jobs once said, deciding what not to do is as important as deciding what to do. And that principle applies here. Don't start your day by reacting. Start by choosing, by affirming, by purifying. This ritual doesn't take long, 2 minutes, maybe 3, but in that time, you've sent a message to your entire being. I am present, I am aware, I begin with order, and that message ripples through the hours ahead, shaping your tone, your presence, your focus. You will walk into rooms differently, speak differently, listen differently, because your body and mind were aligned before the day even began. Now, some might say this is too simple to matter, that drinking warm water won't fix anything. But remember what Epictetus said. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. This is that first saying. This is that first doing. The smallest acts done with the greatest awareness create the foundation of character. So don't underestimate the power of this ritual. Don't overlook the wisdom and simplicity. While others rush, you sip. While others react, you align. And that difference, that's not small, that's everything. And if one morning you forget, or you rush, or you slip, come back, try again. That's what ritual is. Not perfection, but repetition, not performance, but presence. Every morning gives you a chance to begin again, not by doing more, but by doing one thing with full presence. So let it be this: a glass of warm water, a single intention, a quiet moment of sovereignty, and from there, the day is yours.
Number 4.
Absorb the early morning energy by stepping outside. There is a certain kind of silence you can only hear before the world wakes. A silence not made of absence, but of presence. It's not the lack of noise. It's the purity of everything that hasn't yet been touched by distraction, by demand, by drama. And when you step outside between 3 and 5 a.m., you don't just enter that silence, you become it. This is not a coincidence. This hour, revered by Buddhists, monks, yogis, and mystics, is known for a reason. It is the sacred hour, The veil between what is seen and what is unseen is thinnest here. The mind, softened by sleep, not yet hardened by habit, becomes receptive, and the air, that still, unbothered morning air, is thick with what the Stoics would call logos, the divine order of the universe. But too often we remain indoors. We cage ourselves in walls, screens, and artificial light. We forget that nature is not a place we visit. It is a system we belong to. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "You are a soul carrying a corpse, and that soul, it needs grounding, it needs breath, it needs nature, not as a backdrop, but as a teacher." So when you step outside at dawn, don't rush. Don't bring your phone. Don't think of it as exercise. This is not a workout. This is a return. Let your feet touch the earth. Bare, if you can. Feel the ground. Notice the temperature. Watch how the air feels on your skin. Smell the dew, the wood, the faint scent of life before it's been covered by cars and smoke and screens. This is what the Stoics meant by aligning with nature, not escaping to it, but remembering you are part of it. The science now affirms what ancient wisdom always knew. The early morning sun, low on the horizon, stimulates your body's natural rhythms. It resets your circadian clock. It regulates your hormones, especially cortisol and melatonin, setting you up for a calmer, more focused day. But beyond biology, there is philosophy. Because when you stand in silence under that pale sky, feeling the chill of dawn and the slow golden light, you begin to remember something essential. You are not in control of everything. The sun rises with or without your permission. The wind moves regardless of your plans. The earth rotates without checking your to-do list. And in that realization lies peace, not defeat. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Most of what stresses us lives in our head. But nature does not live in our head. It lives here, outside, in the rustle of leaves, in the quiet birdsong, in the way the grass bends under your feet. This is what dissolves anxiety. Not argument, but experience. Not control, but contact. That's why this fourth practice matters so deeply. It reconnects you, not to Wi-Fi, but to why you're alive. So how do you do it? Wake gently after your breathing, gratitude, and warm water. Go outside, step into the light, even if it's dim, even if it's cold. Let your senses expand. Don't force anything, just be. Walk slowly, stand still, look up, look far. The world is wide again in these hours. Not because it changed, but because you have, if you can, stand barefoot on grass, soil, or stone. This isn't superstition, it's grounding. Your body, full of electrical signals, reconnects with the Earth's natural frequency. Studies show this can reduce inflammation, improve sleep, and boost mood. But again, the Stoic doesn't need a study to know what he feels. He knows when something brings him back to center, and nature always does. Think of Epictetus, born a slave, poor, crippled. And yet he found immense power not in possessions, but in clarity. Clarity that often comes when you remove noise. And there is no place more free from noise than the quiet morning outside. When you listen to that stillness, something inside you mirrors it. Your breath slows, your thoughts lose their edges. The urgency fades, and what remains is presence, not the kind you perform, but the kind you carry. You will begin to notice the world differently. The trees are not just trees, they are examples of patience. They do not force growth, they allow it. The birds are not just background, they are reminders of joy without agenda. The sky, vast and open, teaches you to expand your perspective, to stop clinging to the small, petty concerns that filled your mind the night before. This is not poetic language. This is training, philosophical, mental, emotional training. Because if you can stand still in silence, surrounded by life and feel a sense of calm, then you are strong. Not loud strong, not aggressive strong, but unshakable strong. The kind of strength that doesn't depend on validation, the kind that doesn't panic when things go wrong, the kind that knows I've met myself in silence. I don't fear the day ahead. People think Stoicism is just about enduring pain, but that's incomplete. Stoicism is about clarity, about perspective, about standing inside your life, not outside of it. And what better way to do that than to stand in the early morning light and realize this moment is enough. You don't need to do it forever, 10 minutes, even 5, just long enough to feel the world without filters, to recalibrate your system not with dopamine, but with depth. And if you miss a day, return the next if it rains. Listen to the rain if it's cold. Feel the cold. That's part of the teaching. Comfort is not the goal. Presence is. And the Stoic trains in all conditions, not to prove toughness, but to remain free. This moment outside, this ritual of stepping into the world before it becomes loud, is one of the most powerful ways to reset your nervous system, to ignite your energy, and to remember your place in something greater than your schedule. So tomorrow when you wake, don't rush to your phone. Don't rush to your tasks. Step outside. Breathe, look up, say nothing, and let the quiet speak what words cannot. This is the final piece. This is how you complete the ritual, not by doing more, but by being here, fully, gently present. If you've ever wondered why you wake up between 3 and 5 a.m., now you know it's not just your body stirring, it's your soul calling. What you do with that hour determines everything. Sit in silence, speak truth to yourself, cleanse your body with intention, step into nature. These aren't habits. They're acts of self-respect. In a world that constantly pulls you outward, these rituals pull you inward. And when you return to yourself, even for a few minutes each morning, you walk through the day differently. Less reactive, more present, unshaken. The Stoics didn't wait for the world to calm down. They trained themselves to be calm in any world. So if this video spoke to you, honor that voice inside, practice, repeat. And if you found value here, like the video, subscribe to the channel and share this with someone who's ready to rise. Early, strong, and clear.